Hello, hello. Thank you so much for stopping by. So I take it if you are here, then you have one, just acquired a laser or soon to acquire a laser. Yay! Congratulations. And two, you've decided to use Lightburn, which is this lovely software right here. So yay and yay for you. Now what? All right, so once you get Lightburn, first thing you're going to do, it's going to open up, it's going to look like this. You want to go down over here to devices, because first things first, you have to connect your laser. So as you can see, I have a Rudia, or Rita, not really sure. I have one of those controllers in my laser. So I'm obviously going to select this. Now, when you go over here, you can select Find My Laser. If your laser is attached to your computer, this is super simple. It will literally just find your laser. I'm going to go through it, though, as if your laser is not attached, just so that you can see what it would look like. So first things first, you're going to come over down here and create manually or Find My Laser if your laser is already attached via USB to your computer. So in my case, like I said, I have a Rita. And so I'm going to select it, and I use a USB attachment, but for my machine, I could also attach via Ethernet. And I could also do a packet USB, but I use the serial USB. So then we're gonna click next. And for this, I'm just gonna put testing because that's what it's for, you know. In this example, that's what it is. But if you have multiple lasers, you can definitely rename your lasers here. And that way you can have Marita 1, 2, 3, 5, etc. You know. All right, now down here, very important, you need to know the dimensions of your working area. So as you can see here in the background, this is your working area. So this is essentially your laser bed, just digitized. So you just need to put it in your measurements right here. Now, I already know that my measurements are 28 by 20 for my particular laser bed. Now, for your laser bed, that may be different. So definitely refer back to the sides of your laser bed. All right, and then we're gonna select next. Now it says, where is the origin of your laser? Now for me personally, the origin of my laser is right over here, which is the rear left. So I'm gonna select that and hit next. And you know where your laser origin is because when it's at the home location, so before you even turn your laser on, wherever it is on the bed, that is essentially where you would like your origin to be set up. Otherwise, you're going to end up with letters that are mirrored. If you do end up with something like that, you can just flip-flop it over here by using the horizontal or the vertical axis. However, it's easier if you just set up your origin. All right, so now we're going to go to the testing one. We're going to hit OK. All right, so down here, I am selecting my testing laser. All right, and I set up my bed properly. It's 28 by 20. Now, if your bed was not set up correctly, you can go to Settings, which is under Edit. You can change your units from inches to millimeters, however you would personally prefer. You can also change the way that your files are set up, how they import, how they export. All of that can be done here. You can go to device settings, and this is where you will want to change your working size. Now, your working size is based on the metrics that you set up in the previous screen. So if you set your metrics up to be millimeters, then your working size is going to display in millimeters. I personally work a lot in inches, so I have set mine up to be inches, and that's pretty much all you need. So from here, we're just gonna make a cutesy little file. So I'm just gonna select a shape. Over here is our bar. So first we've got our pointer tool. Hey, pointing. We've got a pen tool. If you click once, drag, click again, drag, click again, and close it, you will create a shape with the pen tool. Not a feature I use a lot, but it is a feature. The rest of these three right here are all different shapes. And if you select, or I'm sorry, if you just tap Shift on your keyboard and go up and down, it will maintain the ratio. If you do not, it will go all kinds of ways. So just hit Shift and it will give you a perfect symmetrical shape. Right here, we have our nodes button. So if you have your nodes selected and this was a path, which in this case it's not, you have here, A. And we'll turn this, we'll right click and convert it to a path. And a path just means that it's something that can be edited. So as you can see, now we have nodes, and that's what that feature is. So you can drag that in and drag that out. Now that's definitely a more advanced feature, not something that I'm gonna go over today, but just to give you an overview of what that is. This is, I believe they call it the tabs. Yeah, tabs feature. Now for the tabs, you just click on your shape and it's supposed to give you a marking. Now this is not a feature I have personally used. I know I've said that like literally a couple of times already, but I do use all the rest of them coming up down at the bottom. So then we've got our text tool, which you just saw me use. Hey, and Andy is actually the name of my laser. That's what I named my laser. So in the comments below, drop down the name of your laser. I'd love to know what you named yours. I named mine Andy because Woody, which is my favorite thing to work with, Wood is his best friend. So I don't know. I'm corny. I thought it was cute. Anyway. So moving on, I'm not really sure what this is, but the offset tool is one that I use a lot. So not gonna really like dive deep into it for this overview, but as you can see, I just selected the offset tool. You can do an inward offset, you can do an outward offset, you can do both. For this, we're just gonna do an inward offset and we're gonna leave all the other settings the same and we're just gonna hit OK. All right. Now we're gonna select our shape, and all I did was I left clicked, right? So I'm creating a bounding box, and then I just selected the entire shape. Now, if I select this, it's going to weld these two shapes together so that those two shapes now become one shape. And if you didn't see that, here, we'll go back one. So I just did Control Z a couple of times to go back. As you can see, these are two shapes. Now, I select them both together and select weld. They become one shape. All right, Control Z. A couple times since I moved it. Okay, there we go. All right, now if we select them all and we select this right here, this is the Boolean of two shapes. It takes the first shape that you have selected and it absorbs that into the, or it absorbs the second shape into the first shape. So as you can see, the second shape now disappears. Now in this example, obviously this isn't a good example for this particular tool, but that Boolean does come in handy at times as well. All right, the next one is going to be the subtraction tool. It's the difference. So now we're going to take this one and we're going to subtract this middle piece and see what we've got left at the end of the day. All right, and when you do that, now it created one shape and it got rid of the middle piece of this shape essentially. So in this case, it did the same for us as the weld feature, but that is not always the case. All right, go back a couple more. All right, so the next one is going to be the difference of the shapes, or Boolean, an intersection of the two. And in this case, it's going to give you the innermost shape or the path where they intersect. Again, for this particular shape, not the best example, but you do at least get an idea. So Lightburn can do, surprisingly, a lot of what the other graphics programs can do. I use Corel Draw on a daily basis. I have for years. I love, love, love Corel. I don't care what any of the naysayers say. So for Lightburn to be able to do some of the things that Corel can do and do it just as easily is definitely a win for me. All right. So next, moving on, we're going to take our basic shape right here. And we do want to weld it together. Oh, sorry. We'll intersect it. Get it one shape, okay? So now that we've got it, and I'm just gonna, just for congruency, I'll make this 4.5. And up here, this is where you're gonna change your shape. So say I wanted to make it 10 inches. If I've got this locked and I hit 10 inches, now boom, it's suddenly 10 inches proportionate. If I unlock it, and I hit 10 inches, then it's only going to affect the measurement that I was dealing with. So in this case, the width is the only thing that it affects, all right? So we're just gonna lock it for ease of use. And all right, just so I can show you some settings, we'll just throw some text on here. So I'll just say, thanks for watching. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope this was helpful. You guys are gonna get out there and you're gonna use your lasers and you're gonna be like bad laser people in a good way. Such a dork. But anyway, all right, let's just like throw a script out here. All right, cool. We'll use this. All right, so as you can see, when I changed the script, it gave me a lot of extra spacing. So one thing that I do quite often is convert to path. So what I did, I selected it, right-clicked, and convert to path. Now, it's going to give me everything that is one path together. So these are the inside paths, these are the outside path, or this is the outside path. So I'm gonna Control Z a few times and get back to where we were. And I'm gonna select all of this. And we're gonna go up here to the little people and we are going to group that together. And I'm gonna do the same thing for this, group that together. And then finally, I'll do the same thing for that, group that together. And then we will take these and just push them all up. Hey. All right, so as you can see, we're having some difficulties here. So what you can do is select that and then maybe zoom in a little bit. And on my keyboard, I'm gonna select Shift and I'm gonna try to catch this line. Boom, there we go. So now I can just drop it down a little bit. And I noticed something. This is not connected to this right now. And we need these two connected. So I'm gonna select the inside line and again, select Shift on my keyboard and select the outside line. Then I'm going to come over here to the Boolean difference and I'm going to select that. Oh, see, we're not getting what we need. So maybe I need to select the outside line first. And sometimes this is just trial and error, especially when you're just starting out. Okay, yeah, that's exactly what it was. So I was just selecting in the wrong order. So now these are definitely connected in a shape. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this offset tool over here and I'm going to do an outward offset this time. And we'll make it just a little bit bigger. Yeah, all right. So what I want to do, now I'm selecting this outward offset. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to ungroup these two. I don't want them together anymore because I want to take this one right here and I'm going to delete it. And this is now going to be my cut line. So I like to cut in red just because I learned on the K40 and with K40 Whisper, the colors were red, blue, and black, and that was it. You don't have any other colors. So I prefer to cut with red. So my outside line is going to be my cut line, which is going to be my red line. Then we're just going to engrave this in the middle. And again, with Whisper, it was black. So just to keep it all congruent, I'm going to keep it as black. And then on the inside, we are going to do this. Actually, you know what? I'm going to make this blue. And then on the inside, we will do black. Okay. So, and you can choose whatever colors you want in Lightburn. That's the awesome thing about Lightburn, and it will remember your settings for it. So for instance, as soon as I selected red, it remembered these are my settings for cutting. Now, this was the last cut that I made. These aren't necessarily the settings that I always use, but I was cutting a thicker piece of material the last time. So what I like to do is I like to, you see these arrows over here? If you select these up or down, you can do determine the order in which your machine is going to work. So it is a machine, and whatever you put in it, like one of my bosses used to say, garbage in is going to be garbage out, or good things in it, or it will lead to good things out, right? So make sure that you set up your file to where your machine can read it, and when it comes out, it's going to be good because you set it up good. So I like to always do my score line or my light engrave line blue first, and it is a line. It is just a line. Then I like to do my fill or my raster engrave. They call this the vector engrave, but it's a score line. And then the black, I like to do it as a fill. I do not do the fill plus the line. Personally, you can. I have just decided that I would rather do a line and then do a fill than to do the fill with the line. So that's just how it worked for me on my laser. Definitely give it a try on your laser so that you know for yourself. Lasers are kind of like, you know, little fingerprints, right? You know, we each get our own one. We have no idea what we're getting until we open her up and get to know her. Well, maybe fingerprints wasn't the right one. Maybe I should call them like puppies. I don't know. Write in the comments what you think lasers are like. Anyway, so the next one is going to be your red line, which is your cut line. Okay, so then the next thing you have over here is going to be speed and power. So speed determines how fast it's going, and power determines how much power your laser is putting out. So in my case, I have a 60-watt red and black Chinese Orion laser, right? And so at most, when I use 100% power, the most that I am outputting is going to be 60 watts of power. But the truth is it's not even going to be 60 watts. It's probably less than that, but you know, whatever. That's a bunch of science and stuff that doesn't matter. So in reference to power, this is a percentage. In reference to speed, this is your speed per millisecond or per inch. Now, I have mine set up over here in my settings, device settings. Ooh, not that one. I have mine set up here to do inches for my main, but to give me millimeters as my direction for my laser, because I don't want my laser to move 1 inch at a time, because that would be way too big. So you'll notice over here, it tells me my speed and it tells me my power. I can also double click and I can adjust. I will tell you right now, I've had my laser for, I don't know, a little over 6 months now. I'm going on close to a year as just a laser owner in general. I've never, ever had to double click or use anything in here, so just don't touch it, okay? Like, I have no idea what any of this does. Leave it alone, okay? That's all I got. Now, output is important. So if I tab this and it has a little red tab, as you can see, this goes a little grayish or more transparent. That just means that when I send this job to my laser, it is going to cut, it is going to raster, it is not going to score, because I have turned the score output off, okay? So what you want to do is select it all, put it into position, right? Make sure you've got your lasers lined up. Now, as far as your speed and your power goes, these are my base settings. Now, I will say, let me change this back to what I do feel like it should be. Okay. So I do 15 and 55 for most of my, you know, 5mm plywood, roughly, you know, an eighth of an inch. Okay. But for you, it may be different. And as you can see, I did have my speed set lower and my power set higher, and I was using a thicker material. And that's the thing. The thicker the material, the slower you want to go and the more power you want to put in. But at no point in time do you want to have your laser for any of your settings, whether it be your raster, your score, or anything. There's really never any reason why you should ever have your power maxed out at 100%. I've cut quite a few things and I have pushed my laser to the limit, so to speak, but I have not maxed my power out at 100%. I've never even really felt the need to. Now, I did just go up to, you know, and I'll go up to 75. Sometimes I'll do 80. It depends. I mean, you know, like I said, I'll push my laser, but I don't feel the need to do 100. Your laser mileage may vary. But I will just say, when you've invested what you've invested in your machine, there's absolutely no reason for you to push it past its capacities. You know, really, what, you know, what's the point? If it can do the job at 80, there's no point in pushing it to do it at 100, simply. Yeah. So, all right, so now we're ready to cut. One little trick that I am going to show you guys that I wish I had learned from day one, so I'm going to show you guys from day one. So yay, bonus to you if you've watched this far. Hey. Go over here to optimization settings. And you've got order by layer, which is the layers right here. Okay, layer 1, 2, and 3. Order by group, which is this right here. That's a group, because remember, we grouped these inside letters together. And then you've got order by priority. And priority is the order in which that you have assigned them, right? So this is priority 1, 2, and 3. This is layer 1. This is layer, or sorry, this is layer 0, 1, and 2. So in our case, we want to order these by, all right, so first, before we do anything, I just remove that, okay? So click, remove, okay? And I'm on my keyboard, I'm gonna hit Alt-P. Alt P, okay? Like Princess P. Right? And that's going to show me a print preview of my laser. It's going to tell me the cut distance and essentially an estimated time of how long it's going to take me. So right now with zero optimization, it's going to take me 4 minutes to make this cut with these particular settings, right? Oh, and then I didn't tell you, if your stuff doesn't cut all the way through, if you want it deeper, you can always go right here and do 2, 3, 4, 5 passes, however many, right? So now let's do optimization settings, and we are going to group these together. We're going to order by priority, cut in directional order, and choose best starting point, right? Okay, so it's not always better, but we're going to see. And in this case, it's not, oh, hold on. Yeah, and in this case, it did absolutely nothing. Now, on a bigger piece that is going to take you a substantially longer amount of time, then you definitely want to use that Alt P. That has saved me quite a bit of time. Also, where you put your items on your laser. So if I was to start it right here, it's going to take longer. See, 3 seconds longer. I mean, not much in this case, but it's going to take longer simply because the laser has to travel from here all the way down here before it can start moving. So you definitely want to try to position your pieces as close to the edge as possible. I'm just gonna make a couple copies as close to the edge as possible. Mind you though, use the frame feature. So right here, and this is getting a little long, but this is the last thing that I'm going to show you guys because this is really helpful. So I'm just going to draw a stupid rectangle, whatever, right? Just something to fill my entire workspace area. All right, and now my machine's not plugged in, but if it was plugged in, then I would hit frame right here. See, it's going to tell you it's not connected to the computer, yada, 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 whatever. And then on my machine, if it was plugged in, now my machine would immediately start going around this line until it reached the end. And that would tell me whether or not my material, where I had placed my material, if it was going to fit the cut. Now, mind you, this is the total size of your laser bed, but your material may not always be cut to be the exact size of your laser bed. So the frame feature is extremely, extremely helpful. And then, I mean, aside from that, just kind of play around and have fun, and you'll learn it as you go. But these are like just the basic things. As far as finding the best speed and power, I would suggest finding a free SVG somewhere that has like a bunch of different speeds and powers listed, and then just going through and changing it one at a time, going 70 power, boom, start. Okay, that's what happens at 70 power. Going 75 power, boom, that's what happens at 75 power. Boom, that's what happens at 65. This is what happens at 65 and 20. This is what happens at 65 and 15. And just go through. And there are SVGs that are already set up like that make it super easy to do. And maybe I'll make a video on that. I'm not sure. Like this video if you'd like me to make a video on how to set up your power settings and set up your engraving settings so that you can really fine tune it and get it ready for your laser. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching.